What's up, guys? Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. So I just got a request in an email today to do a video about how to make tabs using Guitar Pro. If you don't currently understand rhythm, like if you don't understand subdivisions, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, all that stuff, if you don't understand how all that stuff works, start playing around in Guitar Pro. You're going to have to understand, because Guitar Pro makes you fit the correct amount of notes into each measure, or else it'll tell you that an error has occurred, and you'll see what I mean. Let's get right into it. So you just open up a new file here. You can pick your sound. There's a bunch of different sounds that it has. The default is acoustic guitar, so just go with acoustic guitar, hit create. So now you have a track. So let's see, what's the first thing we can do? So the first thing is subdivisions, like I was just talking about. So whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes. We're not really going to go beyond that. You're not really going to see 30-second notes or anything like that. Beyond 16th notes, you're going to get into what is known as sextuplets, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But basically, each measure has to total up to, we're in 4/4 timing right now. And you can set the time signature to whatever you want. You can set it to 3/4 or 7/8, whatever. The default is 4/4. If you're in 4/4, that means you have to have 4 quarter notes per measure. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes, or you can have 8 eighth notes. 2 eighth notes is 1 quarter note. Or you can have 4 eighth notes and 4 quarter note, or I'm sorry, you can have 4 eighth notes and 2 quarter notes. You can have 2 eighth notes, a quarter note rest, 2 quarter notes, whatever. You know, anything, it just has to add up to 4 quarter notes. And if it doesn't add up to 4 quarter notes, it's going to give you an error. So let's look at that. So pick quarter note, and let's get the fretboard up here, you know. So you can just type in the numbers of the frets and stuff like that on the strings just to make your own tabs. Or you can hit this little button. Can you see that on the screen here? No, you can't see that on the screen. Over here on the top right, you're going to see a little guitar picture. Click on that. It's going to bring up this fretboard. You can't see it on the screen because my webcam only shows so much of the screen, but that's where it is, and you can pull this up. So let's say you just want to hit the 12th fret high E string. That's the note we want to play quarter notes. So quarter note, hit the arrow over, arrow. All right, now I'm on to the next measure. That's a correct measure. It has 4 quarter notes. All right, so let's say I only had 3 quarter notes. By deleting it, it automatically added a rest, but let's say I go ahead and I hit delete again. Now I only have 3 quarter notes. I try to go to the next measure. It's telling me there's an error. So anytime you see that red come up, that means that your measure is incorrect. So, let's go ahead and make that correct again. We'll add that. So if you want to replace, maybe this note, delete that. You want to replace it with eighth notes, so just select eighth note over here. Hit 12. I guess you can't kind of insert notes, so sometimes you just gotta kind of delete. But 12, 11, back to quarter notes, 12, 12. See, so now I have a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, 2 quarter notes. It's still a correct measure. It didn't turn red, so. All right, and then you have 16th notes. 16th notes are over here. That's going to be 4 notes for every quarter note. So you can click on them. Let's do some 16th note runs here. Let's do some cool pentatonic stuff. And then I'll make this last one be a whole note here. So, yeah, so you have that little thing here, and then we have this 16th note pentatonic thing. So let's hear how that sounds. so see how you can just kind of mess around with stuff. So the tempo is set at 120. You can change your tempo. That clicking that you hear in the background, that's the metronome. Can you see that on the screen? Yeah. So you can turn the metronome off if you want. Just click that. Or you can have the metronome enabled. Just click that on. So let's say you wanted to hear that at like 150 BPM or something. Just double click on the tempo. Make it 150. Okay. Alright, so now it's going to be 150. Alright, so let's put it back to 120. As I was saying, you don't really use more than 16th notes. I mean, it does happen. I'm not going to say you never do, but a lot of times 16th notes is going to be the most, the fastest subdivision you're going to come across, other than sextuplets. And a lot of times sextuplets are referred to as 16th note triplets. So let's just go ahead and erase all this stuff here. And we're going to do 2 arpeggio runs. The first arpeggio run is going to be just 16th notes. And then the second arpeggio run is going to be 16th note triplets, or it's correctly called sextuplets, but you know, the way you do it is you click the 16th thing and then you click the little triplet thing. Let me just show you the 2 arpeggio runs back to back. So 16th notes, not 16th note triplets, just regular old 16th notes. I'm going to do an A minor arpeggio, something like this. Alright, so there's an A minor arpeggio run using 16th notes. Let me do the same thing. Now I'm going to hit 16th note, but then I'm going to hit 16th note triplet. This is a sextuplet. That just means you have 6 notes per quarter note. Alright, so for each quarter note slot, you have 6 notes fitting in there. So let's do that. So yeah, if you make a mistake, you just hit the same one that you just clicked on to delete it. Let's see, so that. And then I'll end up here on this A. Both are done at 120 BPM. Both are 1 measure long, you know, 1 count of 4 long. But when you play it at 16th note speed, it sounds like this. And then when you play it at sextuplet speed, so it's 2 different types of sound. So that's why I really like Guitar Pro. You can really like kind of write out stuff, write out solos, and you know, iron out your soloing ideas, and then play back what you want it to sound like, and then just teach yourself to play it. Anyway, so let's now do some, we can also play rhythms. You know, you can write out a rhythm part and then make a lead part and then hear how they sound together and do that all in here. So let's delete all this stuff here. Alright, so I'm just going to do like an A minor sequence. It'll be an A minor chord to a G major to an F major to an E major chord. Alright, it's all going to be whole notes, so I'm going to click whole notes over here. I'll do an A minor chord. So if you just want to do chords, instead of hitting the over arrow, you just hit the notes. And they all stack on top of each other like that. I'm just going to play the high 4 strings, that way it's not too muddy sounding, so I'm just going to click there, delete that, just hit the delete button, delete. Alright, next one I'm going to do a G major chord. I'm going to delete the low strings again, F major chord now. And then an E major chord. Alright, so now I have 4 bars, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it 3 more times, so I have a total of 16 bars. Alright, copy, paste, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so I have 16 bars now. So this is my track. It doesn't really sound all that great just by itself. Oh, and every time I'm hitting play and stop, I'm just hitting the space bar on the computer in case you didn't already know that. So that's that. So I'm going to add a new track now. All right, so that's going to be my rhythm track. So you go to track, add, and again, you can choose your sound. I'm just going to choose an acoustic guitar sound. Okay. And down here, you can label them if you want. You see that on the screen? No, you can't see that on the screen, but it does show your tracks in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Come down here, the mouse goes out of view, but you're going to see them and you can label them. You can label them rhythm and lead. Just right-click on it or double-click or something like that. It's very easy to figure out how to name the tracks. But anyway, so there's my rhythm track, there's my lead. All right, so with our new track pulled up, let me pull up the fretboard right here. So we know that, this is an A minor chord, that's a G major chord, that's an F major chord, that's an E major chord. So let's just write some lead lines. So key is going to be A minor, so I can just noodle around on the A minor scale. If you know your A minor scale, you can just kind of use those notes. So I'm going to do 8th note triplet. So it's going to be three notes for every quarter note when you do that. So let's just do a little A minor sounding stuff. I don't know. Now on a G major chord, let's do a G major arpeggio over the G major chord. So we'll start up here. Now we're on an F major chord, so we'll do an F major arpeggio. Now actually we'll just do some more on the scale runs in the key of A minor, starting on the note F. And then we will end with a sextuplet speed, so click on the quarter note, and then we'll click on the triplet. So that's going to be so click on the 16th note, and then click on the triplet, makes the sextuplet. So then we're going to end on like a really fast, like E major arpeggio, because it's on an E major chord, all right? And then we'll just run up the scale until we run out of notes. Alright, we'll end on that note. That'll probably sound cool. An E note over an A, that's a chord tone, so that'll sound nice. Alright, so, and then we can add some vibrato too. So let's add some vibrato. You just click on the note. Where is vibrato at? Wide vibrato or short, so let's give it real wide vibrato. Now let's do that vibrato. Okay, so let's hear how this sounds. So just a few other things that you might want to know about are dotted notes and ties and rests. So I think that should cover most of what you'll need. Let's just talk about those real quick. So let's talk about where are we at. So that's on the A minor chord. We'll just keep writing the music to the backing track just to keep it sounding okay. So this is on an A minor chord right here. All right, so this is on a G major chord, that bar. So let's do dotted notes. So what a dotted note is it's the note value plus half of itself. So a quarter note is 1, you know. An eighth note is a half of 1, you know. 2/8 notes for a quarter note. So a quarter note is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So a quarter note takes up a whole 1 space. A dotted quarter note would be 1 plus half of itself. All right, so a dotted quarter note is a quarter note plus half of itself. 3/8 notes, essentially. A dotted eighth note would be an eighth note plus half of itself. A dotted whole note or a dotted half note would be a half note plus half of itself, which would be 3 quarter notes, you know. Half note is 2 quarter notes plus 1 quarter note is 3 quarter notes. So dotted quarter notes can get a little bit confusing, but a lot of times when you're playing your solos and stuff like that, and you're trying to put it into Guitar Pro, you'll hear a note, you're like, it's not fit. Triplets aren't cutting it. You know, 16th notes, eighth notes aren't cutting it, quarter notes aren't cutting it, triplets aren't cutting it. You try all these different things, nothing seems to be fitting. Try dotted notes. A lot of times that note that you might be playing or holding out on for a certain amount of time may be a dotted note. So let's do dotted quarter notes. We'll just play some G notes here. There is a quarter note plus the dot. We'll just hit this high G note up. Well, let's put this G up here. Alright, so that is a dotted quarter note. So that's taking up 3/8 notes. So if we do another dotted quarter note, that's taking up 6/8 notes. So yeah, we only have room for 2 more eighth notes then, right? Yeah, 2 more eighth notes. So there you go. So you see how this measure didn't turn red on me? That's because that's taking up a quarter note plus an eighth note, and then this one's taking up a quarter note plus the other eighth note. So that's a total of 3 quarter notes right there, plus that. So this sounds like this. Alright, so let's stick with that rhythm. We can do dotted quarter notes. We'll stick with those little arpeggio things or whatever. Alright, and then we'll do more dotted notes here. We'll do see how that sounds. So Alright, so you hear how the dotted notes have that, just, I don't know, it's taking up a different amount of time within the measure, adding a different type of effect. So dotted notes are something you're going to want to play around with when tabbing out your own stuff and writing out tabs and whatnot. Let's do ties now. So ties, make sure I got enough screen on the screen here. Alright, so ties, that would be this thing here. That's where, let's say you want to have a quarter note, a quarter note, a quarter note, and then you want to have a half note. Alright, so a half note takes up 2. So that's too much for your measure. You can always tie that half note. You can cut it in half. Whatever is needed left in the measure, plus whatever you need left in the note in the next measure. You tie that together. I didn't say that very well, but let's just look at this now. So we're back on the, so this is the A. Alright, so let's do eighth notes here. There, let's go. Alright, so I want this last note to be a half note. Alright, I can't have it just be a half note though. There, I can't just have it be a half note because that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that would be 4, 5. It's going to turn red on me. I can't do that. So what I can do is I can make that into be a quarter note, and then I can also do a quarter note over here that is also that, and then I can just tie that. So I'm going to click on the second note, and then I'm going to hit the tie button, and now it ties it to that. Alright, so it's going to sound like this. So that is A, that's G, that's F. Okay, boom, 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 boom. All right, so let's do. All right, so I want a half note there, but again, it's too much. I have a quarter note. I have 2 eighth notes, so that's a second quarter note. I have 2 more eighth notes, it's a third quarter note. 4, 5, so that's too much. All right, so again, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to make that into a quarter note. I'll do the same thing, and then I will click on the second one. Don't click on the first one, click on the second one. Tie it to that. All right, so that's on the A minor, that's the F, that's the G, that's the F, and then this is the E. So let's say I wanted to put like a couple dotted notes in there. Let's put like that. Let's put that. So what else do I have? So, oh, yeah, so that's it actually. So that takes up 1, 2, 3 eighth notes. That takes up 4, 5, 6 eighth notes. 7, 8 eighth notes, so this takes up a total of 8 eighth notes. And then we can end on the note A up down here, I guess. And sometimes you'll see that whatever you had selected last, see how the dot's still selected. Sometimes you may forget about that. You may go to the next measure and say, hey, what's going on? Why is it turning red? Oops, I forgot I left the dot on there. That's saying to let this note ring out for 4 quarter notes plus 2 quarter notes. So it's telling it to ring out for 6 quarter notes. You can't fit that all into one measure. You would have to use a tie at that point. But anyway, I don't want that. I just want that to be a non-dotted note. So let's hear how just that part of it sounds. Alright, so there's that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is rests. So rests are pretty straightforward. Whatever value you have selected, you just click on this right here. That's your little rest thing, and it'll just add that amount of rest. So if I wanted to have, let's do something fancy. Let's do eighth notes. Let's do an A minor arpeggio starting here, and every other note's going to be a rest. You can also hit R on the computer, and that's a shortcut too. So, I just hit R, and it was an eighth note rest because that's what was selected over here. I could have also just hit that as well, and that would have added the rest too. So this is on the A minor. I did an A minor arpeggio over a G major chord. Still sounded cool. So this is an F major chord, so let's do an F major arpeggio there. Alright, and then we will just end it with one big banger of an E major, an E major arpeggio that is played at sextuplet speed. So I click on the 16th note, I click on the little 3, and I'm going to start on, let's start on this G sharp down here. Ooh, that's gonna be cool. It's like an A sus chord. Alright, let's hear the whole thing, and then this video is done. There you go, Guitar Pro. I think that was everything. What else did I not mention? There's a bunch of other stuff, but that's most of everything I ever use for writing tabs. And then you have slides and stuff like that. You can slide into notes too. Like, let's say I wanted to slide into that note. You put a little slide, you know, so. Or if you want to do pulls and stuff like that. Let's say I wanted the 16, 17, 16 to be a pull. Where is that? You click on something. You click on something. I don't know what you click on. I don't even know where it is. I just hit H. Alright, and then you click on the 17. And then it's a hammer and a pull. Just click on H. I forget where that is. Where that... oh, here it is. You click on that thing right down here. Can you see that on the screen? I just hit H. So... you can't really hear the difference because it's played so fast, but let's say you want these all to be hammers, so click on that, H, 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 H. Wait, you can't hammer from 10 to 10, can you? Actually, maybe you can. I don't know. But yeah, that's how you add hammers and pulls. Both hammers and pulls are H's. Slide slide up to a note, slide down out of a note, so if I want to slide out of this 12, I would click this. Oh wait, no, slide out. So, if I wanted to slide from the 10 to the 11, I could click on this. My throat is really clogged up. I think I'm getting sick. So, can't really hear it. But if it's a bigger space in between the notes, let's say that was a 9, and let's say that this was a, and we wanted to slide between those two notes. And then there's bends too, alright? So let's say that, let's delete this right here. So that's on an F. So let's do like a really cool bend from a note to an F. So we'll make this a whole note right here. Let's bring our fretboard back up. What note? So there's an F right there. So we're going to bend it from, I don't know, let's just bend it from here. We'll bend it a half step. Alright, so instead of doing a 12th fret note that lasts for that amount of time, we want to bend it. So again, I just hit the button B. I'm sure one of these is the bending thing. I think that might be it. Yeah. So I just hit B, and it pulls up the bending screen. So how much do you want to bend it? Do you want to bend it a full step? Do you want to bend it a half step? Do you want to bend it 1.5 steps? You just do whatever this thing says. Do you want it to be a bend and a release? Do you want it to be a pre-bend and then a release? So you can have all these options that you can play around with, but I just want it to be a half bend, and you can also determine like the length of the bend too, you know, like how slowly you want the bend to occur. So I want the bend to be a real slow bend, so I want it to drag out the maximum length of time, and I want it to be a half step because it's only going from the note E to the F. So let's hear how this sounds. Let's say I wanted that bend to be a little faster. Click B. Let's say I want that to be a little faster. But I kind of like it with the slower bend. It's kind of just, I don't know, sounds cooler. All right, so I think that was everything that I wanted to talk about that I use at least. So yeah, and then there's repeat bar repeats too. So if you want to have a bar repeat, I think that's this right here. So let's say you want this to this whole thing to repeat twice. You can go repeat close here, play. I want this to play 10 times. All right, okay. So now this is going to start from here, and it's going to repeat 10 times. And then if you want it to, the starting point to start at a different point, you could play around with that too. I don't know. How long is this video? This video is like 40 minutes long. You guys have seen enough. All right, so now I'm just going to play this 10 times in a row for you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to play it 10 times in a row. That's going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Check out my website, zombieguitar.com. Have a good one.